Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we're going to take a look at another Jurassic World figure, another one I got for my birthday, and that is the Jurassic World Survival Frenzy Pack Spectrovenator. So a brand new species from Mattel. Of course I'm going to say yes to a brand new species. I like to have every single species in my collection. And yeah, this one is very cool looking, very unique in terms of design, and I really love it a lot. This is actually an abelisaur, surprisingly, which you can't really tell it's an abelisaur just by the overall design. So some things Mattel didn't quite get right, but we'll get closer into that in the review. But it is an abelisaur, and a very interesting one at that, especially in terms of the design. But it does look really cool. I like the little spiky looking design that it has on this dinosaur that Mattel made. I think Mattel did a pretty good job on the sculpt. So for the packaging, this is my very first survival figure in the Frenzy Pack assortment, or at least to be reviewed on the channel. And yeah, this one looks really great. Yeah, I like the Rebirth T-Rex logo right there. It makes this whole packaging pop, by the way. I love the the survival packaging. Just everything pops. I like the little yellow and black caution tape in the background, especially right here. And then you got the Jurassic World Survival logo, Frenzy Pack Spectrovenator, and the background is just your standard jungle background, you know, because it is Jurassic, so you gotta have like those jungle backgrounds. And then here on the back, it says Spectrovenator, got some FactSap stuff, Mattel logo, a bunch of information that we don't care about, the Jurassic World logo again, and a bunch of figures are part of this assortment. I believe this is part of the first wave, no, the second wave of the survival figures for the Frenzy Packs, which I don't even have any from the first wave. I only just want the Vespersaurus, so I gotta find that one. So this is my first, not only first Frenzy Pack for the survival line, but basically the first of the second wave. We got the Plesiosaurus, which is a re-release, the Velociraptor, which is just has less paint than the other ones, the Spectrovenator, which we have now, and the Pharaoh-Draco, which I also have, which we'll review next. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the Plesiosaurus later on, and I really don't care to get another Velociraptor, especially how this one has less paint, so there's no really reason to get it. I'm not a completionist, so but yeah, here we have all of these for the second wave. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure. Alrighty, so here we have the Frenzy Pack Spectrovenator out of the package. And this is a really nice looking little dinosaur for the overall appearance. I really like the sculpt. I like the little spiky little design that it has, like I said before. So it has a really cool looking appearance. But yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot to really talk about, because Spectrovenator, like I said, is an abelisaur. When I first saw this figure, to me, it does not scream abelisaur at all. It really does not. I thought this was going to be some sort of different dinosaur. As a matter of fact, there is a dinosaur coming out this year for the survival line. I'm not sure if it's a Frenzy Pack or a Strike Attack, but it's called, I believe it's a Skeletosaurus. I believe that's how I'm pronouncing it right, Skeletosaurus. But it's a little armored little dinosaur, which when I first saw this, I thought that's what it was going to be, because it's armored, it has all these little spikes and osteoderms on it, so I figured this has to be it. Plus the paint on the front gives it the impression that it has a beak or something, and the really small looking teeth that it has. I was like, okay, this has to be the Skeletosaurus or something. And then when I saw the pictures of this animal in its box, and I saw the words Spectrovenator, and I looked it up, and it was just another smaller abelisaur, I was like, what? There is no way that was supposed to be an abelisaur. So I guess it's really awesome to have this species, because I don't have Spectrovenator in any form in my collection. So this is a brand new species added to Mattel's collection, so I'm glad to have it. But it does not scream abelisaur to me at all, especially when you look at pictures of what Spectrovenator supposedly looks like based on skeletals or other artist representations of it. It does not look like this at all. I don't mind the whole spiky look to it. I'm fine with that. It's just the skull shape does not look like what you see online, does not even look like an abelisaur. And of course, the arms are not like an abelisaur. These are way too long, kind of like your standard, you know, theropod looking hands that you would see, which is why I thought this was going to be Skeletosaurus, but it's not. It's it's an abelisaur. Plus the teeth, I mean, they're sharp. They do look like they belong to a carnivore, but the way they look, I don't know, it screams herbivore to me, not carnivore, because I feel like if it was a carnivore, it'd be larger teeth. But yeah, I mean, this is a really weird figure, in my opinion, because it's a brand new species, but it doesn't really represent it in the best way. So in terms of accuracy, Mattel did not really do a good job in terms of accuracy. At least I mean, sometimes Mattel doesn't really focus on accuracy, but at least they do something to show you like, oh, this is a feature that's present on this animal. We're gonna make sure we at least get that right or something, you know? But of course, it's not the first time Mattel has done things that are not that are inaccurate. You know, for example, their Nitrosaurus didn't have the cool little wide mouth that it has, or their Iguanodon, even though it was a Dominion figure, did not sport its famous thumb claw. So there are some things that Mattel has kind of missed here and there, but while this one is not accurate to a real life Spectrovenator, it is a cool figure, all in all, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. And I like to display all my dinosaurs, you know, within their family group. So this one's obviously going to go with the abelisaurs, even though it does not look like it at all. But yeah. But what we know about Spectrovenator, it's a smaller abelisaur that I think was discovered in South America somewhere. It might have been Brazil, but it's a smaller little abelisaur. And obviously Mattel obviously did not capture the look of it precisely. But overall, it's a really nice looking figure, detail-wise and silhouette-wise. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. The head sculpt right here looks really nice. I like the little detail. Hopefully you guys can see it with the light that I have here. Nice little scale detail here along the face. You can see some giant scales going along the side of the mouth or the lips, which I gotta say, I really like how Mattel gave this abelisaur lips. So you can close its mouth and the teeth aren't hanging out, so that's really cool. Like, nice little touch there. But yeah, nice little detail here on the underside of the jaw. Really nice little good sized scales, and they actually become larger as you get to the tip of the mouth right here. Really large little blocky scales, and everywhere else is just kind of smaller scales. And a really nice, you know, detailed spiky look for the rest of the dinosaur. Like, it's just all covered in like these spiky osteoderms, and like, I'm not even sure if this is supposed to be part of the survival line, like, oh, it's been mutated to have all these spikes. I don't know, it doesn't really seem like it to me. Abelisaurs are always portrayed having like these little osteoderms, so maybe Mattel just kind of took it to the next level and gave it like this, almost like this armor looking appearance. But it is a really cool appearance nonetheless. But yeah, you got nice little row spikes here at the top, the center of the head, and it kind of just like explodes into like all of these little almost like tile overlapping scales, like maybe like snake scales or something. But I really do like the way these little osteoderms or spikes look all over, like here on the side of the neck. They look really nice. They're really big and thick too, so this one will definitely have some sort of armored covering. Nice jagged plates here on the side of the jaw. I like this little protrusion here on this part of the jaw, and it's only present on this side instead of this side, so you got some, you know, asymmetry going on here. Nice little detail on the underside of the jaw as well. It's kind of hard to see. And then here it got some nice little bumps here along the throat before it explodes into all these right here. The entire underside is actually really nicely sculpted, kind of similar to like a crocodilian in a way, but the scaling looks really great here on the underside. Again, it's really hard to see based on the light source, but you can see right here, really nice detail in the sculpt, in the scales that they have on the underside of the Spectrovenator. And that continues all the way down to the tip of the tail, as you can see right here. So really nice detail on the underside with those scales, and the entire top side is just these giant armored osteoderm looking spikes or scales. You can see that continuing all the way down to the tip of the tail where it looks really armored right here. So yeah, I really do like the way the armor spikes look really nice on this one. As you can see, just kind of going through the entire sculpt right here. You got this little segment here at the top that actually makes these spikes a bit more rubbery, so a bit more soft. I don't know why it's just this segment. Could have been like the entire figure, but I don't even know how they'd make that work. But kind of interesting, but I'm not going to complain about it. Like little rows of little spikes along the spine right here, which look really nice. And then the entire rest of the scales like I said, they just look really cool. It gives like a really cool appearance, and it kind of feels kind of cool too when you rub your fingers against it. The arms look really good too. They have like these little spiky osteoderms going down it as well, almost giving it like the impression of really thick looking feathers, which I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be like the armored scales, which look really good, nicely sculpted on there, Mattel. And the hands look really good too. Nice 3-fingered hands, which is not accurate for an abelisaur. And you get the nice little grooves or ridges along the fingers, which look really nice too. And the claws look great too, for that being tinier arms. Tinier arms, even though they're not like super tiny like how they're supposed to be. Then moving on to the hind legs. The hind legs look really nice here. You got these little spikes kind of sticking out of the leg right here, which looks really cool. And then the entire leg from like the thigh all the way down to the ankle are like these really big blocky rock-like scales all over the side right here, which is a lot different than what you get throughout the rest of the body. So it's kind of a bit more flat here, but it looks really nice. Mattel did an excellent job with the sculpt on this side. And the same thing can be said on this side. I really like the way these scales or armored-like scales look here on this side of the leg. And you got the more little spikes here along the top part. And then those spikes kind of eventually slow down and turn into smaller scales from the ankle all the way down to the rest of the foot, which look really nice amount of scales. So Mattel did an excellent job with these tiny little scales. Nice little ridges along the toes, which look really great. The dew claws nicely sculpted as well. And the underside of the feet, you got the little Jurassic logo and the scan code right there. But yeah, it looks really good. The sculpt work is excellent on this figure. And then yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the sculpt. Everything else is just super nice. It's well done. Mattel did an excellent job with the sculpt on this one. I really dig the whole spiky look of it. The armor look. It's very different and unique for an abelisaur. And actually, I forgot to go over the inside of the mouth. The teeth look really nice as well, nice and tiny and sharp too. And the tongue is nicely sculpted. Nothing a whole lot going on. You got a little bit of some line texture on the roof of the mouth. But other than that, that's pretty much it. But yeah, in terms of sculpt, it looks great. In terms of colors, the colors are really interesting as well too. A really nice yellow for the base coat, which looks really nice. It's not too dramatic. It's not too bright where it looks so unnatural. It actually looks really nice in my opinion. And then you got like this, I don't even know, maybe like this really dark navy blue probably for the back side. You got like the darker navy blue for the couple of stripes or 3 stripes here on the back end right here, which look really nice. I like how it kind of splotches on top. And then the entire tail here right here is in that darker navy blue color as well. And I really like how the segment between the tail and the sculpt, these scales are kind of overlapping, so that's really cool. I really like that little touch. And then the head right here, you got a nice little green eye with a black pupil, or not really a black pupil, sorry, it's a brown pupil. It looks black here on screen, but I'm trying to look on the screen and look at the figure in person. But the entire tip right here is like this really dark brown, and you got that dark brown highlighting the eye around it, around the socket, so that's really cool, kind of makes it stand out, so I really do like that. And I tell you, this brown spot makes it give off the impression that it's supposed to be a beak or something, but it's not. And oh yeah, the little nostrils are sculpted right there too. That's nice. And then here on the inside of the mouth, not a whole lot going on here. The gum flaps right here and the tongue are painted in like a pink fleshy color, and the teeth are painted in like a beige white color. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot of paint going on here, except for the paint of the actual mold of the plastic. But you know, it is what it is. And you got a little bit more of like this beige color, which might be the same as the teeth for the lower jaw, and then going down the throat a little bit. And that's pretty much all it ends. And that's pretty much the only colors that we get on this figure. So again, really nice colors, though of course, much like previous figures, it would be nice for them to be applied a bit more, like this beige color going down the entire underside, and then maybe some more of like this dark brown or like this navy blue color kind of sprinkled around the body or something like that. I don't know. Really cool to see how people would repaint this or something. And then obviously there's no claw paint for the toe claws or the finger claws, so it does look a little weird and cheap when they're not painted, especially for a brightly colored dinosaur. But you know, it is what it is. For articulation, you got jaw movement right here, which is pretty typical. Then you got neck joint. It can go down that far, so you can drink water or eat food, like it killed something. Make it look up about that far. That's pretty much it. The rest of the armored body kind of prevents it from going. Then the arms just move forward and backwards, and that's pretty much it. Same with the hind legs, just forwards and backwards, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty much your typical articulation for a Frenzy Pack figure. And I think the tail can spin. Yeah, there we go. So it spins. But yeah, articulation, pretty basic, but it works for this small little dinosaur. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some comparisons. So to start it off, here we have Dr. Henry Loomis, a human figure next to the Spectrovenator, and I think the size is pretty nice. Spectrovenator is a small abelisaur, though I think it has to be a bit more smaller in my opinion, but for what it is, I think it does capture the size very nicely in my opinion. Alrighty, and last but not least, here we have the Spectrovenator compared with the other small-scaled abelisaurs that Mattel has made throughout the years, which is only 4 in total, which is not very bad. A nice little group of them, which is really nice, because Mattel loves to do multiple different species of one family group, so I support that a lot. So it's really cool to have all these different species of abelisaur of a small scale all next to each other. So we have, along with the Spectrovenator, we have the Quilmosaurus, we have the Guamesia, and Rugops, and they all look pretty nice next to each other. Now, not all of them capture the look of an abelisaur. Actually, that pretty much goes towards the Guamesia and the Quilmosaurus. Those ones have like full-on abelisaur proportions. They got like the roundish looking head sculpt, the elongated body, the small limbs that actually look like small little carnotaur hands, and longer legs. So these ones look more like abelisaurs. The Rugops here, pretty much the head sculpt looks like an abelisaur. Everything else looks like a small tyrannosaur. I mean, look at those hands. Those are definitely tyrannosaur hands and not abelisaur hands. So I don't know what Mattel was thinking when it comes to the Rugops, but still I'm glad to have a Rugops in my collection. The head is the only thing that looks like an abelisaur. Everything else does not. And then the Spectrovenator, sadly, unfortunately, nothing about it looks like an abelisaur. So it does stick out like a sore thumb compared to all of these. But either way, based on the name of the figure, it is an abelisaur, so it's going to be displayed alongside all my other abelisaurs. But other than that, they do look really good together, in my opinion. Nice little differences in terms of design and colors. But yeah, I would say for what it is, they do look really nice together. All right, everyone, so that's about to wrap it up for this review. For my final thoughts, I really like this figure. I like it because I have a new species in my collection. I really love the sculpt on it, and the articulation is pretty basic, but it works for this size figure, and the colors are really nice as well. So I really like this figure for having a new species, but I would say it does not capture the look of an abelisaur at all. That's probably my only gripe with it, is just that it doesn't really capture the look of a Spectrovenator. But for overall, it is nice to have a Spectrovenator in my collection, even if it doesn't look like it. So still a really nicely sculpted figure. I mean, I recommend it if you're someone that wants to collect all the species, but that's really much all I can say about it. But I personally like it for what it is. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.